There's a question in technology that comes up all the time, and it sounds a lot like something you'd hear from the back seat on a long family road trip.
That's the one. When we talk about artificial intelligence, it's the question on everyone's mind. Are we there yet? Have we finally arrived at what you might call true AI? Okay, let's pull out the map and see if we can figure out where we actually are on this journey.
You see, to figure out if we've arrived, we first have to agree on where there even is. What is the destination we're aiming for? Turns out that's a little trickier than you might think. Right now, what we all call AI is basically this: the simulation of intelligent behavior. These are systems that are fantastic at performing really specific, complex tasks, things that look a lot like intelligence. By this definition, you could argue we're already there. But that's not the whole story. Because the real destination, the one that researchers and science fiction writers have been dreaming of for decades, is artificial general intelligence, or AGI. This isn't about simulating one skill really well. It's about having a broad, adaptable, truly human-like ability to think. It's the difference between a really smart tool and, well, a mind. So this is the crucial difference. The AI we have today is narrow AI. It's a genius, but only in its own little world. What we're driving towards is AGI, an intelligence that can learn and adapt across all kinds of different tasks, just like a person can. Getting this distinction is absolutely key to the whole conversation. To understand how far we've come, let's take a look at some of the famous landmarks we've passed on this road trip. These were those big moments that made us think we were getting close, but they were more like impressive roadside attractions than the final city. For example, an AI can solve incredibly complex math problems in the blink of an eye, way faster than any human ever could. But is that intelligence, or is it just a calculator on steroids? The speed is amazing, but it's a very specific machine-like skill. Or think about this. An AI can memorize the entire periodic table perfectly. But again, that's a lot closer to a database search than it is to actual understanding. It can give you the data, but it doesn't get chemistry. And of course, there was that huge moment back in 1997. IBM's Deep Blue beat the world chess champion, Garry Kasparov. It was a massive achievement in mastering a complex game with set rules. But Deep Blue couldn't do anything else. It couldn't explain the rules of checkers, let alone understand what winning actually means to a human. And this phrase just nails it. We created these siloed savants. Each one is a genius in its own narrow world, whether that's math, memory, or chess, but take it one step outside of that world and it's completely lost. True intelligence is about connecting all those different skills. So if these individual milestones aren't the real destination, how have we been trying to measure our progress? What kind of GPS have we been using on this journey? For a very long time, the classic benchmark was the Turing Test. Alan Turing came up with it way back in 1950. The idea is simple. Can a machine have a conversation with a person that's so convincing the person can't tell they're talking to a computer? It's all about imitation, about appearing human. This timeline really shows how our measuring stick has changed. It all started as a thought experiment in 1950. Then, nearly 50 years later, Deep Blue's victory felt like a huge leap. Then you get to 2014, when a chatbot supposedly passed the test, but it did so by pretending to be a teenager, which feels a bit like a clever trick. And now, today's AI can hold such a natural conversation that it's forcing us to ask if the Turing test is even the right measurement anymore. And that brings us to this really fascinating thing that happens on this journey. It seems like every time we get close to what we thought was the destination itself just moves a little further away. Why is that? It's because of this cycle. First, an AI does something incredible, like beat a world champion. Then, we humans kind of look at it and say, okay, that's cool, but it's just number crunching. It's not real intelligence. And just like that, the goalposts move. Our own idea of what intelligence means gets raised a little higher with every single breakthrough. So let's pull this out of the theoretical world for a minute and bring it into your daily life. Because while we might not be at AGI yet, this journey has already put an AI co-pilot in almost everyone's car and pocket. I mean, think about it. In some cars, an AI is making split-second decisions to keep you safe on the road. And in the creative world, AI can generate incredible art from just a few words, basically giving anyone the power to be a creator. This isn't some distant future stuff. This is narrow AI, today, working right alongside us. Okay, we've defined the destination, we've looked at the old landmarks, and we've seen how the map itself keeps changing. So let's circle all the way back to that first question and try to land on a final verdict. This table really sums up the whole journey. In the past, AI was all about those siloed savants that were hyper-focused on one rigid task. But today, we're seeing these systems become more integrated, and they're starting to apply what they know across different areas. Our interaction has gone from rigid commands to something that feels conversational, even creative. So, the final answer? No, we have not reached artificial general intelligence. But, and this is a really big but, something feels different this time. For decades, that destination always seemed to be just over the horizon. Now, for the first time, it feels like that horizon is actually getting closer. The progress we're seeing is accelerating at a rate that is just hard to comprehend. The gap between the narrow AI of today and the general intelligence of tomorrow is shrinking faster than ever. And that leaves us with a totally new question. It's no longer a matter of if we'll get there, but when.